Going back to the beginning of the novel involving the flood, I think this is an important concept that touches on the land aspect of Momaday's theory that land, quote, he's interested in the way that a man looks at a given landscape and takes possession of it in his blood and brain. For this happens, I am certain, in the ordinary motion of life. None of us lives apart from the land entirely. Such an isolation is unimaginable. End quote. So I think the flood ties in perfectly with this example because it's an important part of the book that kind of contributes to Father Damien's desire as a priest, desire to kind of take on this challenge as a male priest to convert the Ojibwe people to Catholicism. And it's just another example that kind of ties in with the land and imagination. And what I mean by that is that Father Damien, the way Erdrich describes the flood, it describes Father Damien's thoughts through Agnes, but the thoughts are so personified that the land is literally applicable to Agnes taking possession of the land. So I'm going to start out with reading this, and then we're going to jump into the depiction of it. So, quote, once this river started to move, it was a thing that gained assurance. It had no problem with fences or gates, wispy windbreaks, ditches. It simply leveled or attained the level of whatever stood in its path and moved on closer. Water jumped up the grass lawn and collected in the flower beds. The river tugged itself up the porch and into the house from one side. From the other side, it undermined an already weak foundation that had temporarily shored up the same wall, once removed, to make way for the piano. The river tore against the house from all around, and then, like a child tipping out a piece of candy from a box, the water surged underneath, rocked the floor, and the piano crashed through the weakened wall. It landed in the swift current on the yard, Agnes with it. The white treble cloth of her flannel nightdress billowed as she spun away, clutching the curved lid. The thing was pushed along, bobbing off the bottom of the flower beds first, and then as muscular new eddies caught it, touching down on the shifting lanes of burnt wheat fields and further, until the revolving instrument and the woman on it reached the original river, that powerful vein, and plunged in. They were carried not more than 100 feet before the piano lost momentum and sank. As it went down, Agnes thought, at first, of crawling into its box, nestling as though for safety among the cold, dead keys. So attached was she to the instrument that she could not imagine parting from it, but as she actually struggled with the hinge cover, Agnes lost her grip and was swept straight north. End quote. So, as you can see, it's quite obvious that with the example of land, as Momaday touches on none of us being able to live apart from the land entirely, it's interesting that Agnes kind of references this to her piano. She treats it as though it is unimaginable to be without it. However, I kind of thinking deeply into this, you can see how the flood acts as a representation of her connection to the land, and she appreciates the flood because it acts, or it symbolizes, Agnes's new beginning as Father Damien. And so it really ties in with the notion of appreciation for land, and it initiates a foundational component of Agnes's beginnings as Father Damien and how she's going to live her life.